Nikolas Perrault, Executive Chairman of Fairchild Gold, is here to join us to discuss the company's flagship Nevada Titan project that lies on historical mining claims and lying just 35 kilometers from Las Vegas. As well, the company just announced a proposed acquisition of the Golden Arrow project on the Walker Lane Shear Zone, also in Nevada. Please remember this is neither a recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company. I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. Nick, welcome. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great. And how are you, Martin? Thanks everybody
Very
for joining.
all right. Well, with gold doing what it's doing right now, seeing stories like this, where historically they're shown there has been lots of good stuff in the ground, and you're coming back to explore and really do a modern survey and exploration of these of your property. I'm looking forward to seeing it. This is a great market for this kind of a story.
Well, thank you very much, Martin. So I guess welcome everybody to this webinar, and hope you can learn a few things about our project. So I presume we have some existing and potential new shareholders here with us. So I'm going to skip through the disclaimer slide. So essentially, what we have is the consolidation of a historic mining district that we've done over the last 12 months. It was through a series of transactions. We did an initial acquisition, then we staked a bunch of claims to the west, and then we acquired some additional claims from an Australian company that had exited the sector. We now have consolidated this historic district. I think our property package is around 25 or so square kilometers, and it encompasses at least 30 past producing mines and workings. So it was a busy district a long time ago. So what's interesting for us is the concentration of all these mineralized structures in such a compact area. As Martin pointed out, we have a very unique location. We are about 35 kilometers from Las Vegas, so it's a 40-minute ride, 90% by paved road, highway and paved road, and just the last couple of kilometers gravel road. We have power right to site, and one of the few, I guess, water sources in the area is in this valley. So we're quite endowed here with that. By the way, 12-minute helicopter ride from Las Vegas. So access is year-round, and it's really quite a dream location compared to some of the other investments that I have that are a little bit more remote. So it's a pleasure to work in that area. And the hotel rates, as you may have figured out, have collapsed in Las Vegas. So it's cheaper for us to stay around there than in Toronto and Montreal or Vancouver these days. This is a bit of history on the district. So you see, this is just a sampling of some of the historic mines that we have on the property, that we have been visiting and taking some outcrop sampling over the last, I guess, last 12 months. It's only been, it's hard to believe, but we've only been boots on the ground here for 13 months on the project. So a lot has happened for us since then. And a bit of we'll get some slide on one of the later slides. You'll see some of the grades, but what we have been doing is essentially mapping, doing the geological mapping and sampling of outcrops and filling in the gaps between the old mines. Some of these old mines, certainly our work hasn't exhausted all the terrain we need to cover, but so far the findings have been really incredible. It's hard to really imagine. The last time that I saw grades like this that we're seeing at surface was in the Congo. I mean, you don't see these kind of grades, normally without having had follow-up exploration. All of these mines have not seen any drill holes, and we're seeing continuity between some of these mines. It's really quite interesting. Very rare project. So Martin, this deck is available on our website, by the way. So
All right. And it just reading the notes to the side, like nothing's been done on this property for at least what, 60, 70 years. And a lot of the mining was
yeah,
what, 100 plus years
yeah,
ago. So
100, 150 meters. Yeah. So just to be fair, there was a cobalt rush. I mean, in about 10, 12 years ago. Don't quote me exactly. So there's a bunch of companies that sort of scrambled to the area because of some extremely high grade cobalt that we have all over the place. That was the last time there was a lot of excitement in this area, but nobody's really, had a proper attempt to pursue the primary reason for this district to have been what it is, which is some high grade copper and gold. What we see is a combination of skarns and mantos that were mined historically, and but you also see your gold PGE mines as separate events, separate mineral events. So I mean, the rock monster was very busy here, Martin, and we're still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Our theory, and we've been able to confirm some of this from our early findings, is that the cause of all this, and this is why we're really interested in this whole area, is that the cause of all this activity is a very powerful porphyry system below. That's our real target for us. All of the historic high grade mines are there. They will be pursued as secondary targets, but the ultimate prize for us is to confirm the cause of all of this activity being a powerful porphyry system. Our team has found evidence of porphyry mineralization at surface. I think we have on this webinar some folks that have actually been to the property with us. And we basically have found porphyry mineralization at surface, which has not been documented anywhere in the USGS databases. So it adds a lot of confidence to our efforts. And if you look at the zoning of the historic mines that you see, you'll see, for example, the whale mine, which was really a base metal mine, a little bit further away from the concentration of where you see the gold and the more active copper mines in the district, and that fits the zoning that you would expect in a porphyry system, where you have your base metals, your lead, your zinc, your silver, etc., a little further away from the heat source, where you find your copper and your gold. Copper side, a little bit of an anecdote. The average grade mined at copper side was 29% copper. I mean, it shocks me to this day to see that this has never seen a drill hole. So I think all of these, we're still trying to figure out a lot of things here, but there is a lot of these things are probably, coming up from something a lot more significant below. The amount of, we're just going to get to, we'll get into more detail in a few slides on some of these grades, because we have a bunch of samples. I think a couple of hundred samples came back from the labs. We press released that early last week, and that's fresh data confirming and adding to our extensive historical database. Go into that a bit later. So a bit of location. I'm going to try to slow down in my speech here. A bit of location here on the Walker Lane Belt. We're all familiar with Nevada, with the Carlin Trend, the Battle Mountain Trend, and this is the Walker Lane Belt. It's a 600 plus mile shear zone, starting into California all the way into Arizona. There's about 100 million ounces that have been developed along the Walker Lane Belt, developed and found. The massive Round Mountain mine is right smack in the middle there. So our project here in Nevada Titan is just south of Las Vegas, where you see the star. And it's interesting that you have a gap in the distribution of all of these deposits that were developed. So I like to say there's never only one cockroach, Martin. So we have a bit of a gap area here where there hasn't been any focused modern exploration, and I think we've got a shot at finding something significant. It should be noted across the border, right to the southeast of us, is in Arizona, is the massive Baghdad mine, the big mine operated by Freeport, and so that's a huge copper mine. I think it ranks in the top 10 somewhere. And to the north of us, where we put the yellow octagon, is the Robinson mine, which is a porphyry operated by KGHM, the big Polish copper producer. I think they're the 8th largest in the world. So there is obviously there is presence of some big copper mines in the area. So let's go on. It gives you an idea of the topography. You have here some of these old. So we've walked into these old mines. We haven't exhausted all of them, but we certainly did a lot of sampling within some of these mines and between them. That's the result of what you will see in some of the further slides and was press released last week. Recently, so I should say in the last couple of, I guess, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we found a magnetite pipe. Assays pending on that, but this is the kind of stuff that you're really looking for and could be a link into the right into the porphyry. Here we're still keeping up with the slides here, Martin. You see the target areas.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what we have here is essentially what we understand to be a skarn-associated, essentially copper system with porphyry affinities, and we're really trying to dig into the source of all this. So at the moment, we're going to look to drill this, by the way, from the base of the mountain, and this area where you see intrusive pipe, this whole area that we're highlighting here around the Copper Hill anomaly, this is where our area of focus is right now. So
Nick, I'm
yeah,
just curious, on the far left of that last image we were looking
yeah,
at, is that an old like mine site there, or
yeah,
is that just an
yeah.
erosion
Actually,
zone,
so
or what is
these are,
that?
yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. So that's the old Boss mine. There's about
Okay.
six claims that we don't have, and that's the old Boss mine. We completely surround the Boss mine and the extensions. I guess a bit of an anecdote. There was a pod that was mined there at Boss, and the grades are some of the highest I've ever seen anywhere in the world. It was 230 ounces of gold and I think 64 ounces palladium, 16 ounces platinum, or vice versa. This is absolutely insane. It's probably $1.5 million rock at these prices. So there's evidently something crazy going on in this district. Okay, and we're there to find out. So the copper porphyry target is the ultimate prize for us, but there is a ton of low-hanging fruit here. I mean, I'm based in Quebec, Martin, and if we had this kind of stuff at surface in northern Quebec, where we can only operate a few months a year, we wouldn't have been able to stake and to consolidate what we've done here. You'd have a mosaic of claims over the whole district. So this is a very, very unusual project. Okay. People come back from Africa with grades like this and they get all excited. I mean, here we are in a beautiful location. This is more the yellow dots gives you an idea of where we've sampled recently. This was press released early last week. Copper Hill is, I think, where we picked up the highest. I'm going to skip right away to the next slide. Yeah, here, this gives you an idea of some of the samples. So it's not like a one-off. You can see I'm going to move my box here. So you can see that we got up to 35%, 34% copper here. This is outcrop. These are not like soil samples or anything. These are, samples from outcrop. You have, it makes the low numbers look boring. It's certainly interesting to land there on a helicopter. There's some of these peaks are really, really cool. Okay, so so you can see a pretty nice distribution of high-grade outcrops, never drill tested. And this is a bit of a table, so you can see some of these grades. There's some interesting molly kicks in there. Some are actually quite material, if you can notice that here. So again, it's the kind of stuff you want to see. Okay, so we have so essentially what we've found over the last several, I mean, we took a pause in August because of the heat, but since last winter, we've identified a 1.5 kilometer corridor of essentially high grade mineralization, and we've been mapping this very, very diligently and confirmed a lot of the historic high grades. We inherited a database when we acquired the claims to the east from a company called Koba, which had moved on to other stuff. It's an Australian company. And in that transaction, we ended up with a database of 4,000 samples, of which half or more were rocks, samples from outcrop, rock samples, not soils. And obviously, some of those numbers were really, really exciting, but it was really good to confirm that with our own work. So it adds a lot of value to the historic database to be able to incorporate the result of our own work here. So we have a lot to work off, and this is all going to be combined with the drone magnetic survey, which we have begun this week, which will last a couple of weeks, and that's going to help us further in our targeting. And I think the background on my screen will give the viewers an idea of what the terrain looks like at the foot of the mountains, by the way. So here we go. So this, I talked a little earlier about this breccia pipe discovery and the importance it may represent. These kind of features are recognized as important pathways to porphyry skarn systems. So to be continued, we've got some assays in the labs here on this right now. Well, that's the plan. It's again, I invite the viewers to download and look the presentation. We're executing this like a military strategy, so it's all laid out. So the geophysical work is underway, and so following the drone mag survey, which by the way I should say is going to cover the entire 26 or so square kilometer area that we have. So it's going to be a pretty extensive survey. Yep.
With this exploration plan, are these the steps you've done? I see Q4 and Q1, or are these like what you are going to be doing, or where along the step are
Well,
you
here you
here?
go. September 30th, drone mag survey. That's pretty much live.
Okay.
We're right there.
Okay, so we're there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then that'll be followed up. So I would suspect that we'll have all the results before the end of October and the interpretation. So that's going to keep us busy for a while. But we're going to, and that's going to be incorporated with our geochem database, right? And then we're going to be immediately moving on the IP survey. That's going to be, which is more expensive, by the way, but that'll be more targeted. And that's why we're doing
Yeah.
this other stuff first. Okay. So before we start punching some holes, we're going to do the IP survey. And then after that, we will be ready to finish our initial targeting and start drilling. So, look, the ultimate
Yeah.
prize, Martin, is to confirm the presence of a massive porphyry system 35 kilometers from Las Vegas. That's it.
All right. What is the permitting situation like on that ground? That's patented lands. It's not federal
No, no,
or
it's
state.
mostly unpatented and it's
Okay.
BLM ground. But look, we have, this is a very good jurisdiction. Clark County is great to work in. I think we have the right people on the team with good relationships in Washington. Copper is obviously right at the top of the agenda in Washington. On onshoring copper production in the U.S. So I think we've assembled the right people to help us with any which I do not see why we would need, but with any permitting issues, I think, look, it's a very mining friendly state. I mean, that's why we're there.
Yeah.
So we're just following, we're going to follow the right, steps that one has to do to, so that's why, I mean, I don't want to put out unrealistic expectations, and that's why you see drilling in the second quarter. It allows us ample time to do things properly.
Yeah, you got to do your homework and make sure you do it right because you don't want to, yeah, like companies that don't take the appropriate amount of time, that's very foolish. And what's nice, if you were in northern Canada with this timeline, this could take well over a year with all the snow and all the
Yeah,
issues. So
that's
you
right.
can be working full bore
There's
for
no
6 9
question.
months here, and then
Yeah,
start the drilling.
yeah. Except at night, there's an awful lot of rattlesnakes, Martin. I mean, I gotta.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. At night, you don't want to be walking around there.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
And,
Nick, you mentioned your team.
yeah.
You've got a very interesting advisory board. I don't know, as you did bring it up, so I don't know if you have a slide on them, or maybe you can just
Yeah, I
speak
do.
to them
I think I do. But just
specifically
maybe,
or in
yeah,
general,
maybe to
the
wrap
skill
up.
set.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can. Well, I can do that now. But basically, just to wrap up on the
Okay.
property, it's got multiple targets. I think we have the opportunity not only to go after your the ultimate porphyry target, but there's the potential for some boss style mineralization. If we find an extension with boss style, I guess grades, it's sort of game over, right? So it's not like a one trick pony property here. We have a lot of different things to go chase, and it's a large land package right now. So going to the team, so you got me there, you got Adam. So my friend Adam is the owner of Revere Securities. So it's a firm, it's a Wall Street based brokerage firm. You can look up his background. He's a seasoned deal maker on Wall Street. So he is, it was a great pleasure when he agreed to join us on this adventure. We're going to look to work a lot more closely together. So it gives us a good presence on Wall Street, I should say. We have Luis Martins, who's a very, very seasoned geologist. We have Jeff Baker, lead independent director, ex-Refco broker based in Switzerland. So we've got some good ambassadors here. So I think you're referring to the advisory team. We have Jill, and I think we got a few more names. Yeah, this is not. We added a couple of names this week, a few days ago.
Yes.
So yeah, we have Jill. Jill is based in Florida and in DC. Extremely connected. You can read the bio. So we've got Bash, who is a very connected person in Washington, and my friend Shahal, Miami based, who's now the largest shareholder before me now, and a big supporter of the company. He had to file as an insider recently. So we've got some really good support here. We added a couple of other advisors in the last press release. Malcolm Smith, based in Toronto. We go back 25 years. So he's a very connected investment banker based in Toronto. And of course, Ambassador Hans Hertel. We added him as an advisor. So he was involved in the Barrick transaction in Dominican Republic for the large mine there. He was ambassador to Dominican Republic for many years, named by George Bush. So we got some pretty good people on the team with relationships in Washington, which I think are important these days if you're going to be developing a project, in the U.S. Of this kind with these kind of ambitions. So, I think we're doing the right things there. And when we made our press release recently, a couple of days ago on another acquisition, we also brought in a technical advisor that's going to help us with that specific project. So for a junior company, I think we've been able to assemble not only a good portfolio here, but the right people to bring it forward, not only from a technical point of view, but from a deal making and a political point of view. The team side we have on the technical side, I'm honored
All
to
right.
we're honored to work with Dr. Sergei Dyakov, who is arguably one of the top porphyry experts in the world. He's led the team that discovered Oyu Tolgoi in Mongolia. So he's a great friend and a wonderful asset. He's great to work with, and he certainly has been encouraging us in our efforts, in our belief. It's one thing for the team to believe that you've got this kind of potential to discover a porphyry, but when you got one of the top experts in the world that tells you your thinking is in the right direction, it helps. And then obviously we have Richard Redfern, who's our QP, seasoned Nevada expert, if you will. He used to work at Barrick. He's a wonderful, wonderful person to work with. And we have our in-house Indiana Jones, Aaron McBrearty, who has been doing all the legwork on the field, going to places that very few people have gone back to in decades. So
You announced this a new project,
Yeah.
propose this acquisition that's been announced, and yeah, if you can get no slides on it, but if you can give us a quick overview on the project, that would be give people some color on onto what this
Yeah, well,
looks like.
right. So a lot of this was contained in a press release. So we've announced the an MOU to acquire the Golden Arrow project. So actually, I'll give a bit of context here. So going back, did my scrolling carry through on the screen, Martin?
Yep, we see a
Okay.
map of the
All right,
Southwest
it's the
here.
Walker Lane belt. So if you see the Las Vegas and the Star where Nevada Titan is, so you go right up to Tonopah, you see Golden Arrow. So this is the project that we are in the process of acquiring. So you've got a resource there. It's an advanced stage project. Obviously, it's the kind of project that didn't make sense at $1,500 or $2,000 gold, but it's our belief that at current prices, this thing's going to fly. So it's going to be a very different approach for us. So the idea here is to move this right into PEA,
Okay.
and concurrent with the press release announcing the acquisition on Monday, we also appointed the Guy Lausier as technical director of this project. So this is going to be handled very, very differently with a different team than our Nevada Titan project. So this is something that's going to be treated as a development stage asset, which it is. And we're going to see if we need to add more ounces, but we have a good feeling from our internal work that this thing flies right now. So let's see. So it gives us a very interesting. We essentially embedded the company with a pretty significant call option on gold at a time where you want to have that.
So it may not even need more exploration work to make it bigger.
I
And okay,
Well, I think the exploration potential is absolutely there, but the first
okay,
thing we want to do is does it fly as is? I think, and the internal work we did is we think it does. So,
okay,
obviously, if you think gold is going to $2,500 gold or back to 2000, it's not really the kind of project that'll get people excited. I
yeah.
am not of that belief. I mean, and there's obviously a whole bunch of firms on Wall Street and in Europe that are of the belief that gold is going higher, not lower from here. So, but at current prices, this thing flies, in our opinion. But let's see. Let's do the proper work. We're going to get a PEA done on this real fast, and then
Yep.
let's get the results out there. I mean, we can do all the internal work that we want. We're comfortable with what we see. But to your earlier point, there is a lot of exploration upside here. So we get a lot of data. There was like 70,000 meters of drilling here. So it's not, this is not insignificant. So it's a good starting point.
And for the work that you've got for the, let's say, next 6 months before you start drilling, do you have enough cash on hands? You've done a couple of raises over the past few
Yeah.
months. Do you have enough
Yeah.
money in hand to get all that pre-drilling work done?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so far, we've had great support from shareholders. We have a very, very good shareholder base, some of which have substantial means, and they're encouraging us in our efforts. And I think if the opportunity is right, we'll go back to the market when we need to. But for the moment, we're okay.
You gave us the next phases of your exploration program. What sort of are we going to still be getting sample assays back over
Yeah,
the
there's
next
still
through
some,
the end of the
still
year,
some.
or what kind of
Yeah,
news should
yeah.
we be
There's still some
expecting?
sam. Yeah, there's still some samples that are pending. So, but I think the next exciting stuff for all of us will be to light this whole district up with the Nevada Titan project with the drone mag survey. That's gonna really start to give a different view, different perspective on things, and it's gonna help us. So I think that'll be quite exciting. And we do
And
have a
that's a
number.
Q4 event, if did I
Oh,
remember that right?
that's an end of the month event. Okay, so the drone mag survey results will be end of October, and we have a number of companies that have expressed an interest in furthering discussions following the output of this drone mag survey.
We've
That's about it.
covered a lot of territory here. Any final words before we wrap things up?
I'm good. I would say continue to monitor our progress. This one thing I can promise, it's going to be a busy company, and with this new proposed acquisition, we'll have a lot more to talk about while we refine our targeting at Nevada Titan. So this is not going to be boring, I can promise you.
All right. Nick, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, I'd love to go down for a site visit.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you're
there are a
more
few good
welcome. Yeah,
hotels
we're going to
to
try to
check
line
out there.
something up. Yeah, by the way, we're lining something up for the end of October, so maybe we can
All
discuss
right.
this. So we'll have a few folks over. Okay.
All right. Great location to visit. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.